You ever get that feeling that you're playing a game you just can't win? I mean, you're doing everything you were told to do, right? Working hard, getting the education, saving your money, but somehow you're still falling behind. Well, if that sounds familiar, listen up. It's not your fault. The game itself has changed, and it's about time we all learned the new rules. And this quote, man, it just nails it. It gets right to the heart of the problem. We've all been handed this playbook for an economy that just doesn't exist anymore. The world has been totally redrawn, and we need a brand new map to figure out where we're going. Okay, so let's get into it. The old playbook, right? It was designed for a world that ran like this predictable machine. You put the work in one end, and a very specific result popped out the other. Simple. But here's the thing, that machine is broken. Today's world is, well, it's way more dynamic, even chaotic, and that means it requires a completely different approach. All right, so first up, let's tackle this huge one, the myth of hard work. The idea that just working harder is the guaranteed path to success. You know, for generations, that was pretty much true. Effort was the main variable. But that whole equation, it's completely changed. See, and the old model, effort was the multiplier. More hours in, more value out. Simple. But today, hard work without leverage, you're just spinning your wheels. So what's leverage? Well, it's using tools like code to reach thousands of people at once. That's scale. Or building a brand that you own and control. That's ownership. Or maybe creating content that hits a global audience. That's distribution. It's all about multiplying your impact, not just your hours. So why doesn't just working harder work anymore? Why has the return on pure effort just kind of stalled out? Well, there are three big reasons. First, most jobs just have a natural cap on what you can produce. I mean, you can only answer so many emails in a day, right? Second, your skills depreciate way faster than they used to. What was valuable 5 years ago might be obsolete today. And finally, the rewards, well, they're often disconnected from the actual effort. A lot of that value flows upwards to owners and to capital, not to the person doing the work. And that brings us to another one of these really outdated ideas, loyalty. Look, it used to be a two-way street. You stayed with a company, and that company invested back in you. But today, companies are optimizing for flexibility, not for how long you've been there. And in this new environment, that old-school long-term loyalty can actually become a huge career risk. Yeah, there are these hidden costs to loyalty, and they are significant. First, locking yourself into one single path, it makes you fragile. If that path disappears, you're in trouble. Second, just doing the same tasks over and over leads to your skills stagnating. And of course, staying put just means you're missing out on all these other opportunities out there. At the end of the day, the only thing you should be truly loyal to is your own growth. Okay, so if hard work and loyalty aren't the guarantees they once were, what about following a secure path? Well, that brings us to our next big myth, this idea that a predictable step-by-step career ladder even exists anymore. And a perfect example of this is education. You know, a college degree used to be a golden ticket. It really was. It was this rare credential that pretty much guaranteed you a secure future. And that whole guarantee was built on one simple idea: scarcity. But now, that scarcity has just vanished. Poof. A degree is now the baseline. A lot of the time, it's just a ticket to get you past the automated hiring filters. So when you combine that with the exploding cost of tuition and the fact that there are faster, cheaper ways to learn really marketable skills, the old model just completely breaks down. The new rule is so simple: adaptability beats credentials. Every time. Here's a good way to think about it. The old career path was like waiting at a bus station with a fixed, reliable schedule on the wall. You knew the next bus was coming at, say, 2:15. So being patient was actually a really smart strategy. You just had to wait your turn. But today's world, it's a bus station with no schedule. The board is blank. You have no idea when the next bus is coming or if it's even coming at all. In that environment, just waiting around is just inaction. It gets you nowhere. The advantage now goes to people who iterate, the ones who try something, learn from it, and adjust. Success is about how many attempts you can make, not about how long you can wait. Okay, and this brings us to maybe the biggest disconnect, the biggest mathematical error in the entire old playbook. And that's the advice to just save your way to major life goals, like buying a house.
because in today's economy, the numbers they just don't add up anymore. I mean, look at this. This chart shows the problem perfectly. Between 2019 and 2022, median incomes went up by about 7%. Okay, but home prices, they exploded by 43%. You simply cannot win a race when the finish line is moving 6 times faster than you are. It's impossible.
And here's another way to look at it. Today, the median home price is about 5 times the median household income. 5 times. Back in the 1980s, it was closer to 3.5. That growing gap, it completely changes the entire nature of the financial game.
So what this all means is that the role of saving has fundamentally changed. It's not really a tool for growth anymore, not for these big purchases. It's a tool for defense, for emergencies, and for seizing opportunities when they pop up. To actually get ahead, your money has to be invested in assets that can grow. Otherwise, you're literally guaranteed to fall behind.
All right, so if the old rules are broken and the old finish line is basically an illusion, then what in the world are we supposed to be aiming for? Let's talk about that. Let's redefine what success and security actually look like today. The old goal was something called stability. But think about what we considered stable. One job, one main skill, one stream of income. The thing is, that was never actually safe. It was fragile. It created a single point of failure, meaning if that one thing went wrong, the whole thing could just catastrophically break. So the new goal, the much more resilient goal, is something called optionality. And optionality is simple. It means you don't need everything to go perfectly for your life to still work out. It's about building a personal system for yourself that can absorb shocks and adapt to whatever changes come your way.
So what does optionality actually look like? Well, it means having multiple income streams, so if you lose one, it's not totally devastating. It means developing skills that can transfer across different industries. It means building assets that actually work for you. And maybe most importantly, it's the power to walk away from a bad situation without completely ruining your life.
And this quote, it just sums it all up perfectly. Chasing that old dream of stability, that locks you into one single fragile future. Building for optionality, that's about creating a whole portfolio of possible futures for yourself to choose from. So it all comes down to this one crucial question you have to ask yourself. With every decision you make about your career, about your skills, about your money, which future are you building? Are you building a fragile tower based on those old, broken rules, or are you designing a resilient system, one with many different paths to success?